Hello, and welcome to the Wilderness Prayer Service. This week's theme is Christ in the Compost. My name is Lanny, and I am the curator of UP Wild. We are a nonprofit collaboration to create a space where we can reconnect with our ecological roots, which has always been a part of the Christian tradition. So if you think about it this way, the wetlands, where Lake Superior meets the shore, is full of life and biodiversity. Provides a haven for migrating birds who are just passing through, while also sustaining the ferns, which live there year-round. And Wild Church is much like this. Those who have grown up in the Christian tradition can reawaken a sense of wonderment, and those who are just passing through can encounter a bit of mystery in a non-judgmental space. So I recognize that some of us come from different traditions or have no faith affiliation at all, and everyone is welcome here. I hope that we all can experience something new and life-giving tonight, and it's probably going to be different and special for all of us. So with that said, if you just want to take a moment and say where you're watching from, it's always fun for everybody to sort of see where everyone is because you're watching at different times or you're watching this live. So right now is a good opportunity before we begin to just say hi. We begin our wilderness prayer services always with a breathing meditation, and this is sometimes where people have a candle that they light or a fake candle that they turn on, so this would be the time to do that. Let's just center ourselves into our service. You have all decided to give yourself a beautiful gift this evening. You've taken time in the midst of all this unknown to sit in stillness. And what this gift of stillness offers you is the opportunity to quiet your mind. It is in the quieting of the mind that we are able to connect to our heart. So let's take 3 deep breaths. Breathing in, life-sustaining energy. Breathing out that you would like to let go of. Breathing in love. Breathing out everything else. Breathing in gratitude. Breathing out fear and anxieties and letting them go. And continue with those deep breaths throughout the service. And we are going to step into our wilderness reading. So for many of us who are part of Wild Church, we express that we love being outdoors, walking trails on a boat on the lake, or watching nature. And tonight, we're going to explore a bit of why that is, spending extra attention on the soil and the richness that it offers us. So I'm going to read some excerpts from a few authors I've compiled, and that is going to be tonight's wilderness reading. So we like to always take a walk when we do this, and we are going to do it virtually since we can't meet outside right now. So here we go. The fact that creation goes through cycle after cycle, both through seasons and great solar circles, with new life continually emerging, tells us of the regenerating and self-renewing quality which exists in its source. Nothing stays the same. Water begins as snow, then trickles into streams, flows into one of Michigan's 36,000 miles of rivers, and empties into one of her Great Lakes. Eventually evaporates in the clouds before it returns as rain or snow. The lesson of creation is that all things are connected and flowing, even rocks and mountains. Fields and forests rise and fall, the seasons come and go, all living things are born and die. Only God stays the same. In this way, creation tells us about God, and this is the way of science too, to learn from observation. There was a scientist who studied plants, And as she began to study these plants, she brought with her not simply the observational and analytical skills necessary of all good scientists, but also a certain kind of intuitive sensitivity, an inward openness to kindred creatures. She said that one must have a feeling for the organism, the patience to hear what the material has to say to you. She said, I start with a seedling, and I don't want to leave it. I don't feel I really know the story if I don't watch the plant all the way along. So I know every plant in the field, and I know them fondly, and I find it a great pleasure to know them. For her, reason was not adequate enough to describe the vast complexity, even mystery of living forms, where the objects of her study became subjects in their own right. It is an awareness that mirrors God's own way of feeling the world, an act of feeling as best one can, as God feels it. All right, so let's begin to dig a little deeper into the dirt. Our theme tonight is composting, and I know a few of you are preparing your compost and beginning to garden, so let's dive into Christ in the compost. Our next video.
Compost. I love it, man. Now we're getting to the serious stuff when you're talking compost. What good compost. Like, compost is everything. You got no compost, you got no food. It's that simple, because compost is fertility. Compost is the place where decomposition happens. It's the place of resurrection, right? Think about this. Bodies are dying all the time. Where do they go? The morgue. No. I mean, we are screwed up because what we do is we put these bodies in formaldehyde and try to put them in coffins so that they'll be preserved as long as possible, and we therefore put poison into the earth. I mean, that's just stupid, right? Our bodies, right? They have to become compost when they die. Everything enters into the soil where it is decomposed, and in this decomposition process, which is this incredible mystery, right? New fertility, new life emerges, right? So Wendell whom I love, says, soil is Christ-like because it constantly welcomes death and turns it into new life. So if you don't have compost, you don't have new life. And this is incredible. And there's another thing that's something we're just beginning to understand a little bit better. Right? There's a lot of concern about climate change right now, as there needs to be. It's carbon that's in the atmosphere. One of the reasons there's so much carbon in the atmosphere is that we're burning up the carbon in the ground. We're mining the carbon that's in the ground. If we could restore carbon in our soil, and compost is crucial to that process, we can capture a lot of this carbon that's in the atmosphere and put it in the ground. And we could actually address climate change by paying attention to compost.
If we had more Christ in the dirt,
yeah,
we could save our life.
Yeah. But that's a tough one, right? How many Christians are happy to think about Christ and dirt together? They're not, which of course is a tragedy.
I know one scientist who said it's all hubbub.
Yeah, I know. But that's the thing, right? We think that soil is just a container for a few nutrients like potassium and nitrogen and phosphorus. Those are the big three. And we don't realize that soil is a mystery, right? It's a holy mystery.
What does it have to do with love?
Right? What does that have to do with love? It's about hospitality. Okay? Soil is a place of hospitality, and that's what love is. Love is hospitality. So let me give you a great story. It's the story of Saint Phocas. Not many people know about it. He's the patron saint for gardeners. And the story goes like this. Phocas, he's this sort of priestly, saintly guy who lives in the Roman Empire, and he's known for the kindness that he does for other people. Well, the Roman Emperor doesn't like this guy. So he sends out some soldiers to go find him and kill him. And these soldiers have been marching for a long time, looking for him. They finally come to this little hut where this old man is hanging out. And they say, well, we're looking for Saint. This is not a saint yet. This guy, Focus. And he says, well, why are you looking for this guy? He says, well, because we know he's a threat to the empire because he loves. So we got to kill him. And he says, oh, okay, well, let me make you dinner. I'll put you up for the night, and then tomorrow I'll tell you where he is. I know this guy, and I'll get you to him. I said, oh, great, that's nice. So he makes them a nice dinner, puts them to bed. They wake up in the morning, and they see this guy. He's out in the backyard in the garden. He's digging a big hole. So they go out there, and they say, what are you doing? He says, well, I'm digging a grave. He said, well, why are you digging a grave? Well, because you're going to go kill Focus, right? And they say, yeah, we're going to go kill him. He says, well, I'm him. And the soldiers say, what? You've been kind to us. You've been hospitable to us. Why are you doing this if you know that we've come to kill you? He says, well, because that's what you do. That's what the love of God requires. And so they say, well, we can't kill you now. You're a nice guy. You showed love and hospitality. And he says, no, you have to kill me, because if you don't kill me, the emperor's going to kill you. So they kill him. And he says, now when you kill me, throw me into the ground. I've made my life from eating what comes out of the ground. I'm going to give my body to the ground now. And so that's what they did. Killed him, put him in the ground, buried him. Compost. That's why he's the patron saint.
Talk about bearing your own cross.
Right? That's fundamental stuff when you're talking about soil and hospitality.
Foundational.
That's right.
Are we going to eat in heaven?
I hope so. I mean, it's...
Let's see here. So the audio might have missed a spot on there, but again, this is our first time trying to figure out how to do this online. I love that. I love that piece so much. I'm actually going to put the works cited of where these all came from in the comment box so that you have it in the description box. So it kind of brings up this question of, well, what does it mean to be Christ-like? And a few of us put together this description, and I wanted to read it to you tonight. Christ is the mystery of the compost and the cosmos, the space in you where God dwells and goodness comes from, the silence that holds us together in our diversity. Christ is without boundaries, beyond bars and walls, the hand you extend to another, the yeast that activates our lives. Christ is the apology of the failures and the hurt of the church, a non-judging response to our mistakes. Christ is what liberates us from our minds and connects us to our hearts. From the compost, a harvest of fruits and vegetables is in abundance. The harvest is plentiful and we all have to eat. Christ is sending us, sending you to share it. As prophets of the resistance, body blocking for the powerless, preserving in love with the power to never give up, and always welcoming you back no matter what, listening and discovering and giving hope and seasoning life, singing to the harvest, a compassion that can be seen where we are the translators of that still, small voice. For God is not in the hurricane, not in the earthquake, not in the fire of our lives, but in the gentle breathing of the breeze. God breathes into us, and we breathe back. Let us offer up some prayers together. Now, after each prayer, you can say, creating God, hear our prayer. Let me just get you over there. We give thanks for our earth, which is a sanctuary filled with God's presence, a home for us to share with all of creation. Creating God, hear our prayer. We pray for all those human populations who are experiencing ecological degradations in this current strain of illness, those who lack clean water and food, losing their lives, and all of those affected by increased pollution, disease, and famine. Creating God, hear our prayer. Restrain our desire for unbridled consumption, including the logging of forests, which are natural carbon stores and homes for the rest of our congregation of mammals, insects, plants, and fungi. Enrich our soil with the natural cycles of nature, how you created it to be. Creating God, hear our prayer. Jesus came to show us how to be in right relationship with God and in relationship with each other. Show us how to live, not simply as collections of individual self-interest, but as a beloved community, helping each other through, especially in this time. Creating God, hear our prayer. And this is a moment of silence for you to share your own prayer, either in the comment box, or you can keep it right here in your heart. Let me say one last time for all of these prayers together. Creating God, hear our prayer. And we're going to close tonight's service with another walk in the forest and a closing poem by Wendell called called Purification, not cat trumpet. Here we go. All right. Here we go, everyone. Again, a closing poem by Wendell called A Purification. At start of spring, I open a trench in the ground. I put into it, you know what I just realized? I'm gonna not edit this and keep it because I want to show you how interesting this has all been. I have to press screen share. So this is real. Some of you are watching live tonight and it's actually like this is how it goes. So I'm gonna keep it. We're gonna start this over. We're gonna continue our walk. I'm gonna press screen share. Did I mention normally we're outside? Well, I'm happy that we can all be together in this format. I'll take whatever we can get just so we can see nature this way. Because I know a lot of you are stuck in walls, especially in New York City, so this is for you. At start of spring, I open a trench in the ground. I put into it the winter's accumulation of paper, pages I don't want to read again, useless words, fragments, and errors. And I put into it the contents of the outhouse, light of the sun, growth of the ground, finished with one of their journeys. To the sky, to the wind then, and to the faithful trees, I confess my sins. That I have not been happy enough, considering my luck. I've listened to way too much noise, have been inattentive to wonders, have lusted after praise. And then upon the gathered refuse of mind and body, I close the trench, folding shut again the dark, the deathless earth. Beneath that seal, the old escapes into the new. Amen. I just want to thank you all for being here and taking this walk with us tonight for this week's Christ in the Compost Wilderness Prayer Service. We are aiming to do this every Friday, so we will have another video next week. You can, I hate saying this, find us on the Facebook page. Why do I not like saying that? Probably because if the power goes out, we won't have any Facebook. But for right now, I understand that's where we gather. So you can find our Facebook page, UP Wild Church. We also have a website, upwild.org. So upwild.org, where you can go to learn more about us and also some more resources. And again, on the YouTube channel where we do go live, we will have more videos, hopefully every Friday. If you'd ever like to submit a poem, please feel free to email me at Lanny, L-A-N-N-I, @upwild.org. And we will continue to pray that we will be lifted from our current experience so that we can gather once again in community outdoors, but that we will be transformed having gone through this, so that we don't continue to be old wineskins, but put on the new wineskins. And Wild Church, UP Wild Church is here to help and be community for you during this time especially. So I thank you all for being here tonight, and I will see you next Friday. Thanks, everyone.